Welcome to Business World Healthcare, Mr. Sudarshan Jain. It is such a pleasure to have you with us. Let me share a little brief background of you for the benefit of our viewers. Uh, Sudarshan ji has a strong passion for healthcare and education sector, which are the need of the hour today. He is currently the Secretary General of the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, something known as IPA. He is a senior advisor with Apax Partners and is also board member of multiple organizations. He is a chairman of the Indian Institute of Health Management and Research, IIHMR at Jaipur. He has served in several leadership positions over the years and was earlier the managing director of Abbott Healthcare Solutions. Welcome, Mr. Jain, to BW Healthcare. My first question to you is that, healthcare the success of healthcare is the innovations that happen. And innovations in the sector of healthcare, and specifically pharmaceutical, are directly proportional to the R&D efforts that are put in. What are the urgent interventions needed to fuel the innovation and R&D in this sector?
So thank you very much, Harbinder, for this interview. And I appreciate the kind of work which you have done over the years and the business world is doing. You have brought a very interesting question right at the beginning. Healthcare is primary innovation. Pharma is primary discovery. But there is a role of both discovery as well as generic drugs. So the product is discovered, meet unmet needs. It is at that point of time, I have to recover the cost of development of the drug. After the patent goes away, the prices goes down and the access of drug takes place. India has played a very important role for the access of medicines around the world. And you may be aware of the fact that 20% of volume of generic drugs is contributed by India. India is regarded as the pharmacy of the world. India supplies medicines to more than 200 countries around the world. So we take care of the healthcare needs around the world. The good part of the story is that we supply medicines to advanced countries of the world. Like US, every third tablet in US is sold from India. Every fourth tablet in Europe is sold from India. And we have been able to get around $83 billion saving to US economy every year because of quality assured affordable medicine. So India's strength at the moment is affordable medicine, supplier of quality affordable medicine. And we have made difference to the world by supplying quality affordable medicine. But that is only 1/3 of the global pharma market. We are not strong in 2/3 of the market. And we have to play in the innovation space where we can make difference through the combination of digital innovation mindset and bringing health and technology together, make that difference. It's relatively long journey. It is a journey which requires huge investment in the pharma sector. And perhaps the next phase of growth, as you rightly said, have to be centered on innovation. And we have to play a different game going forward while strengthening the current game where also there is significant opportunity.
Also, Mr. Jain, COVID has disrupted a lot of things that have been happening in the healthcare industry and disrupted for the better. A lot of innovation is happening as we see, and newer ways in which the work was being done has emerged and new business models have come out of it. Now, one of the things that is very, very important and critical for the pharmaceutical sector is the supply chain. So what has been the impact of COVID-19 epidemic on the global pharma supply chain?
Thank you very much again, Harbinder, for the question. India used to be the self-dependent in supplies of APIs, because API is prerequisite to formulation. So if there is a disruption in the supply of APIs, the whole pharma production supply chain will get impacted. China has developed that capacity, and we get around 70% supplies of APIs from China. India realized the importance of that, and PLI scheme was announced by the government in the month of April, where we want to get back a share of APIs. It is not that we don't have the technology. It is that China created large manufacturing capacity, and China government encouraged API industry by giving land at a concessional price, by giving power at concessional price, by giving finances at concessional price. Like 4% is the finance cost in China compared to 12 to 13% here. So there was 20 to 30% price gap, which is there in China compared to here. So India, first thing which after COVID, March, April, they announced PLI 1 scheme to encourage domestic manufacturing of APIs. Over a period, we will see that change. So for supply of formulation, APIs become very, very important. And Indian industry is alive to that need, and we will see difference going forward.
Right. Mr. Jain, what has been the role of technology to overcome the challenges posed by the pandemic? And also, I would want you to share some light as to what are the interventions required to accelerate the digitization in the Indian pharma industry.
So, a lot has been happening. So, if you see COVID, this is the first time that there is uncertainty on the supply side. You are not sure about your supplies of API. There is uncertainty on the demand side, because when the COVID strikes, which part of the country COVID strikes, so the demand uncertainty is there. And then there is uncertainty on the way the diseases are treated, because the patient is afraid of going to the doctor, and doctor is afraid of meeting the patient during the COVID time. First time it has happened. The whole healthcare system, which have thrived on touch and measuring the pulse and stethoscope, underwent a fundamental change. So that was the first sign of digitization, that you had oximeter, all of us had oximeter at home. We have got blood pressure machine at home. We have glucometer at home. So we measure all the things. We put it on a Excel sheet or whatever form we want to do it in WhatsApp message. Communicate to the doctor, and doctor also communicate the treatment to us. Right? First time, the maximum penetration of oximeter. I fail to realize how would we have treated wave 2 and wave 3 in the doctor's clinic earlier days if we didn't have the oximeter and a thermometer. And people just recorded, we didn't visit in wave 3 to the doctors. Doctor said that you take paracetamol, be happy at home, isolate yourself. But if that would not have been there, all of us will be sitting in the chambers, long queues, and with COVID situation, how would it have happened? Simple digitization, WhatsApp messages, and the treatment. Teleconsulting became a big thing. That's one of the big areas. Second is, from a company point of view, all the systems got interconnected. Like say, every department used to work in isolation. If a salesperson gives a forecast, and if the forecast is not right, the finance person will say, you don't know how to do the forecast. And there will be blame game which will happening in. But here the adaptability became because of the digital systems. There were interconnected systems, sales and operation planning system, whether it is sales forecasting, procurement of raw material, production planning, and agility in adapting that with time at a supply chain side, procurement side, demand side. So we were able to manage that system very well. So that is the second. So telemedicine, internal sales and operation planning method. Third area is use of AI, IoT in terms of drug development process, conducting remote clinical trials. Otherwise, how could have been vaccine developed in 12 months' time if we would followed a linear method of these things? So digitization is an important step, long way to go. And perhaps what happened in digitization in 2 years' time would have happened in 10 years' time in a normal kind of phase. So it accelerated the process of digitization. Still long way to go, but I think there's a movement forward in it.
Got it. So the basis of the pharma industry that we see, and a lot of it is based on approvals and by the government, etc. There has been the latest national list of essential medicines that has been released, and a few drugs have been a lot of drugs have been added. But while we have added a new drugs to the essential list, there have been a few deletions from there as well. What are your thoughts on the new NLEM list?
So it has not been released at the moment. There has been a discussion which is going on.
Okay.
So NLEM is in the process of being developed. There is some recommendation made by NLEM committee to the health ministry. The final list has to be announced. One of the things which the companies and the industry has been saying that the low-priced drugs should be excluded from NLEM because no point controlling the price of the products which are less than ₹5. It will make the work easier for the government. It will be easier from the patient point of view, and it will ensure the availability of the products. Because what happens if you make low-priced products so cost-ineffective? Many of the companies can go out of those products, and the price of the products moves up because you can use high-level antibiotics. So if tetracycline is under price control, and I'm not making profit, so I will move up to the high level of antibiotics. So it is not a win-win situation for the patient. So we have given recommendation to the government that when they are considering coming out with new NLEM, they should take into cognizance, yes, essential drugs are important, but essential drugs which are low price should not be controlled. And we should be specific as far as price control is concerned, whether it is specific dosage, strength, form should be there as far as NLEM is concerned. So in our stakeholders consultation, which the government does in all the cases, we have been making that suggestion, and the government has to announce a policy.
Got it. So there's been a FTA with Australia, the foreign trade agreement with Australia. What are your views on that? That seems to be a very progressive step that we have taken.
Again, there is a very great involvement of the industry in the FTAs. Government is getting the inputs of the industry on the FTA. What we are trying to say that India's strength is affordable quality medicine. We have been able to get the savings to the healthcare system around the world. And why we should not share that strength with every country? And why should we not play a fundamental role for the access of medicine? So what we have been saying to Australia in our FTA discussion is the plants which are approved by US FDA, Australia should recognize those plants for the manufacture of medicine and should be able to reduce the cost of the delivery of healthcare to the Australian citizens. Like we get $83 billion saving to the US system. We can get not $83 billion because Australian market is relatively small, but we can be a supplier of cost-effective, affordable, quality medicines to the Australian citizens. And that is the role what we are playing in every FTA we are signing with different governments, that please use advanced countries' approvals of the plant to get the medicines in your country, and let it be assured that your patient will get quality assured affordable medicine. And India can play a fundamental role in that space.
So, what are the other countries that India should look at in terms of exports? Where I mean, new markets that we can open up.
So we are talking the same in FTAs with UK. The UK FTA discussions are undergoing. We'll start talking about this in EU discussion. We have already signed with UAE and Australia. Now we want to go to UK, Europe, Canada, and perhaps Japan. Japan is a very strict FDA. What we are trying to do to them is we like to highlight in our discussion is they can count on quality medicines from India. They can use the destinations which are already approved by the advanced countries of the world for the supply of quality medicine. And we can contribute to the healthcare system saving those countries.
There's been a sudden spurt, and there's a huge emphasis by the government on local manufacturing and boosting local manufacturing. Now, as IPA, what are the changes or policy decisions or recommendations you have that you expect from the policymakers of this country that can boost the local manufacturing in this particular sector?
So one is there is a keyword in the word of globalization, and Nandan Nilekani wrote the book. The word is flat. Where you talked of the theory of competitive advantage, you produce the goods where you have got competitive advantage. COVID-19 brought a change that because of the restrictions which have been imposed on trade many of the times, that every country should start producing the medicines locally. The China API system also posed that challenge. At the end of the day, what we are saying, it is not important to have localized production of everything in your country. You should produce what is critical, and you should produce where multiple sources are put up. If there are multiple sources, then there is no need of producing in your country, because if I have got supplies, sources available in multiple cases, and I don't have advantage, comparative advantage for the production of that item, it applies to medicine, it applies to everything else. Why should I produce that item? I should import that item. I should produce where I got competitive advantage, or I can build competitive advantage, or I gain something by exporting that. So that's our view, that diversified supply chain is more important than localized production.
So my last question to you is around genomics. Now, genomics, the way it is panning out, would probably have a huge role to play when it comes to pharmaceuticals. What, according to you, would be the role that genomics could play in pharma that can lead to a healthier society, reducing the burden on the healthcare system in this country?
So one is genomic testing labs is very, very important, which we realized the importance during COVID times. Like how do you do the gene sequencing as far as the whole area is concerned? So which will help to develop our vaccines. So that was very, very important. Second is there are diseases where there are no answers today in the small and big molecules. Genomic sequence can help us to identify solutions for unmet needs. And cell and gene therapy will play a very, very important role. We will see transformation of management of many diseases going forward. There is a recent study by McKinsey that we have added years to life, but now we have to add life to years. So if you see last 200 years history, the normal age has increased from 30 to 73 years. And in last 1960 to 2020, it has gone up from 43 to 73 years. But the number of bad health patients continues to be the same. So although my years have gone up from 43 to 73, 40 to 73, but the people who were sick in 1960, percentage of people who were sick in 1960, percentage of people remain the same, 50%. So the kind of diseases have changed. Previously was acute infection, TB, those kind of people. Then now chronic care. Then when the old age improves from 73, if it becomes 83, the regeneration diseases will become very important. And that the solution has come from genome therapy. And hence, future belongs to genome.
Right. I have one more question that I want to ask, which is stemming out from what you just said. Now, one of the things that I've heard is that there is no one single particular medicine which will affect every body type, right? Which means a particular antibiotic which may work on me may not work on someone else. But having genetic study of my body can help me understand what is the drug that will actually positively affect me. But genetic testing is so expensive today. In your opinion, what do you think can be done to bring the cost of genetic testing lower so that the healthier lifestyle, the work around genomics, etc., is accelerated?
So basically, like say, when any technology is at the earlier stage have been done, the cost is very high. So whether it is therapies, if you look at the oncology medicine around 25 years back, the cost was so huge. HIV, the cost was so huge. And it's a classical case study. The HIV drugs used to cost $12,000 at one moment of time. And many of the HIV patients were dying because they couldn't have it. But then came Cipla, and they brought the cost to $1 a day, $360. And many of the patients around the world, they thank Cipla and other companies. And that is the role which, say, pharma companies play. Yes, there is a discovery research take place. There is a usage. Some of the technologies pick up, some of the technologies fail. Mass usage takes place, then outside the patent, it is enlarged and amplified, and companies take that medicine to larger population. So similarly, genome at this particular stage is at an early stage. But as I said, that the demand, 50% of the disease don't have solution. Age has increased. Per capita incomes have gone up. Education profile has gone up. People will have money to take care of the health, and government will find solution. So over a period of time, I think better solutions will emerge, and we will aim not only for adding years to life, but life to years.
Got it. We all should pray and look forward to that happening, that turning into a reality so that we can have a healthier society that we are living in. And like you said, happier, joyful, healthier life. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Jain. It has been such a pleasure speaking with you and getting the perspective of IPA on what is happening right now. Thank you so much for taking out time.
Thank you very much, Harbinder. Thank you. Very interesting conversation. Thank you very much.